Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Your favorite podcast, it's Critical Blast.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Dean Zachary, host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham, where we go beyond politics, beyond calculation, and beyond the big two. Join us each and every Wednesday. Don't miss out.
Hi, I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Excellent. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silverline Live. This is issue 4. So welcome back. Can you believe we'd had 3 of these things already, and we're on our 4th one. I'm trying something new today. I'm trying the earbuds. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to hang with the earbuds because I feel I sound nasally to myself. But I'm going to try them for a little while, and if you see me poking around here, it means I've got to change to a headset. So all right. So I am Roland Mann. I am the host of this thing here. I am the writer of Cat and Mouse, and I am the head wrangler of this motley crew that you see in front of you here. So I want to spend a minute or two or more than that, and we're just going to go down the row here and let everyone introduce themselves and tell the folks that are watching us and listening to us who you are and what Silverline project you're working on. So first up, I see Alex. Alex, you've self-muted.
Is that muted? Let's see. Is it unmuted?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Hello, my name is Alex. I'm drawing Cat and Mouse issue 3 right now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a penciler. I can do inks and colors. Right now I'm penciling issue 3 of Cat and Mouse.
And you're also a graduate of the Kubert School, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Excellent. And what page are you working on?
This is page 13 of 3.
Page 13 from issue 3. Sweet. So see all of you out there who are asking, yes, we're still working. We're still busy working. This is Alex's first time to join us, and we're excited that he could do so. We're kind of sad for the reasons Alex has been working on most Wednesdays. And Alex, did your place of business shut down, or I know you've shifted some, but
No, yeah, it was restaurant, so it was one of the first to go for obvious reasons. But I'm fine. I'm doing good.
Good.
Get more drawing time.
And we like to hear that. All right. So next up here is Brent T. Larson.
Yeah, I'm the writer and creator of the Silverline comic Kalis, which just wrapped its second Kickstarter yesterday. So at 206%, huzzah!
Huzzah! That's right. And Brent, what do you normally do? You're like don't you write those words for a different medium?
Yes, I do write for other mediums. Not the kind that do fortune telling, but I mean the actual media. I'm also a screenwriter. I work with short film. So.
That's right. Excellent. Yes, and we're very honored that Silverline gets to publish the very first Brent T. Larson comic book.
Yes. Yes. I almost said, yeah, you should be honored. But what I meant to say was, yeah, no, the honor is all mine. Oh, mine.
Instead, you just said, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we've got another first timer. We have with us this time John Martin. John, tell the people who you are.
I'm the Viking of the group. I'm the inker
Zachary's
on...
alive?
No, he's not. I'm the inker on Friar Rush. Issue 1's been done, and from what I've heard from Roland, the colors are done.
Yes.
So it's any time now before you see a Kickstarter. And I'm inking issue 2 as we speak.
Sweet. Yeah, we're gonna have to get you hooked up with Tommy to get you to figure out how to broadcast your screen here, so that the people can see you. Or you already got that figured out, huh?
I just need to back up apparently.
Oh no, okay. So we're gonna in a couple of weeks we're gonna actually have an Inkers Day where we're gonna let you guys talk about inking. So yeah, if you got that figured out, good to go. I'll send you, of course, an email and we'll get the date figured out. But yeah, we'll have an Inkers thing as well. Another first timer. Well, first timer for the live stream, but a long time Silverline guy, Curtis Fujita.
Hello.
Yay.
Good to see everybody. So just a brief intro. I'm Curtis Fujita. I've known Roland for about 25 years. I was his assistant back at
You don't even
Malibu
look
Comics.
that old though.
It's all the alcohol, preserves the skin. So. But yeah, so I was Roland's assistant during the Malibu days. Did some color design, some editing, a little bit of writing. Then went off to college, got into the video game industry, doing art, animation, things like that. Recent years, I actually transitioned. I'm a martial arts teacher doing that. And Roland invited me to come work with Team Silverline. So I'm currently the creative director at Silverline and an editor on the Kalis series with Brent, which is just so happy to be part of it. So
Yeah,
good to see everybody.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know or who know a little bit about martial arts, I don't know that much. I know just a little bit. Curtis does have his own martial arts school, so he is the Sifu there, which is the High Lord teacher. And he's he is the master of the school. Is that not correct? I mean, is that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm an instructor. We'll just put it. I'm an instructor, so
Yeah,
that's
but you're the top instructor of your school.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
fish in a small pond. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know, and I've seen you. I've seen you. Post pictures and videos of some of the. I don't know what to call it. Your Sifus. Some who have come before you and have taught you, but for your school, you are the head teacher there.
Yes, that's right.
Excellent. So all of you out there listening, don't mess with Curtis. He knows how to smack you before you can even blink your eyes.
And
All
I
right.
can edit a good comic too.
That's right. Yep. And yeah, Kalis 2 will be ready before you know it. All right, next up is Sid. What's up, Sid? I like your banner, man. You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, I knew. I
Okay.
knew. Well, there were more people between on my screen. There were more people between me. I thought it was.
Oh,
I thought I was
sorry.
last. No problem. Glad you liked the banner. I was trying to, make good use of this space.
Yeah. So seeing your banner before I interrupt you in your introduction here, seeing the banner, one of the things, because I see your Disciples of the Serpent and Dark Hours there, one of the things that we're trying to do on the Silverline website is trying to become an Amazon affiliate. So one of the posts we had on Sunday, we had a whole bunch of links there to some of R.E. Jones's work, a whole bunch of Sid's work, some work by Chuck Bordell, and some stuff that I did. So if any of you other guys have work on Amazon, please send me the link and we'll put that on Amazon affiliate. Really what that does is that we want people to obviously know and be aware of your work that's outside of Silverline, but if they click on that, it gives us points somehow. And I'm not really sure how it works yet because we don't have any. So I'm not sure what it does, but I think an affiliate is probably a good thing for us to be. So
I think it gives you a few pennies whenever a purchase is made from that.
I kind of think so. Yeah.
So
who are you, Sid?
I am the author of these novels, as we've been talking about, and some short stories. And for Silverline, I wrote. Which way is he from me? I wrote the comic that John was talking about, Fire Rush. I wrote that, and I wrote another one coming down the pike eventually from Silverline Bloodline, and in the old days, The Scary Book, and Marauder and the Mantis Files.
Yeah.
So
Brett should be putting up some images here as you talk. So hopefully some of those will pop up. I know we've got some Friar Rush images. So
cool. I'm in an anthology that's kind of exciting, about to roll out. It's part of a story bundle right now. The only way you can get it is to buy the story bundle of cat books, but it's called Cat Ladies of the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And
cool title.
Yeah, and it was planned. It was planned last fall, so nobody knew we were going to be in the middle of an apocalypse when it was time for it to roll out. But, my story in it is called "The Witch of Washington Park," post-apocalyptic landscape, and botanist essentially trying to figure out ways to make new agriculture possible in an apocalypse. Urban agriculture. Cool. Yeah.
Yep. So everybody listening, run out and jump and pick up some of those books and support Sid.
Thanks. Yeah.
So next on my list of murderers row here is Flormonte.
It would help if I clicked the microphone buttons. How's everybody doing? I am the inker on Trumps. It's a card-based kind of comic book that Roland's actually writing, and while we're doing this live cast here, I'm going to be inking some, so they'll be able to switch back and forth to it. So I've been inking for forever.
For a long time.
Yeah, done a lot of stuff with Roland, done a lot of stuff with a bunch of folks, but I'm having a good time.
Excellent. And I forgot to shut off my email. And I got that nasty message here. I have to shut that off in a second. And so since we've started these live streams, Tommy, you've been blazing through the inks, haven't you?
Well, I can't let it. Well, I'm like on our book besides you, because you've already you've written the story already. I'm the quote unquote seasoned pro. I can't let the other people just pass me by on getting all their stuff done, so I need to catch up. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you kind of had to kick it in gear, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, back in the day, if you remember, I was able to do 3 or 4 pages a day of quality work. So doing one every 2 or 3 months is not going to work. So I need to speed this up a little bit.
Yeah. And when Tommy says back in the day, now this goes back to my days as editor, and Curtis was there too. Curtis probably received a whole bunch of the packages. I hired Tommy to do a whole bunch of inking on a bunch of different projects. Probably
a lot of Ultraverse stuff.
Ultraverse, probably one more stuff. high profile thing is probably Nightman over Kyle Holtz. And
oh, yep.
So,
but even far as back as inking several of the Cat and Mouse stuff.
That's right. Yep.
Plus Demon Tales and several
over
other.
Paul Pelletier.
Oh yeah, yep.
So, yep. Long time.
So I should be doing more than 1 page a month is what we're trying to get at.
Yeah, you really should.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing that, because I was asking BJ to help me find that whip. That yeah, that's right. All right.
But I've turned in a few pages the past week. So
yes, and they look awesome too.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get them up. I'll have to get them and fix them and give them to Brett so that Brett can display them on our live stream.
Yes.
Next week. Last but not least is COVID Tim.
COVID Tim.
Yep. Also Corona Commander.
That's right.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tim. I am the associate editor at Silverline. So I take all of Roland's excess brain stuff and process it. I help run the website with scheduling. I am currently running the craft series. I am editing a book, which is as yet not publicized. And what else am I doing? I just realized that I've been taking at-home Kung Fu lessons from Curtis. So.
Oh, cool. Have you really been taking those?
Yeah, he's just been following them and going along with it.
Sweet. so
oh, that's awesome. Very cool.
There you go. Very cool. So, Tim,
awesome. Thank you so much.
We have to ask you, Tim, how you feeling, man? How's the corona and how's your improvement and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's at this point I feel like it's been about a month or so.
Yeah.
So again, I feel great. I've been at the secondary job, just sort of going about life as usual. But they're staying at home a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I just happen to be in a lucky circumstance, being young and being athletic.
Yeah. So do you feel like are you 100%, or are you still in the?
I would say so.
Are you? Wow, that's great. That's fantastic. So I think that's good to again, like I've said before on here, that you're the only person I know and this whole entirety of the United States who's had the disease, or not the disease, the virus. Sorry. Sometimes I feel like it's a disease the way they talk about it on the media so much. But you're the only one who's had the virus that I know, and so it's good to kind of hear your experience and the way that you kind of handle it and come through with flying colors. So, and we're glad to see that you're certainly recovered.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very, very aware that you have sent me an email and says, "Hey, do you have this? Do you have this done? Do you have this done?" Yes, I know it's there. I see it, and it calls to me whenever I look at my email, and I'm like, "Oh, I got to answer Tim. No, I don't have it finished. I have it kind of done, but no, I'm going to avoid Tim a little bit longer." And then I realize that I can't avoid you on Wednesday nights.
I'm one of the few people in Roland's life besides his wife who gives him deadlines.
That's true. It's very true. So yeah, my face is probably turning about the same color as my shirt now. So
and deadlines are good; they keep him on track.
That's right. And since you spoke up, I want to take this time to introduce two of our behind-the-scenes folks. My lovely bride of 20 years, BJ. How you doing? Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
BJ is, I guess I heard someone the other day say, carrying the wrench. She's handling all the chat for all of our various streams, which we're streaming on Twitch. We're streaming on YouTube and on Facebook Live. So if you're joining us from one of those, thank you so very much. BJ's the one. Pepper her with questions, and she'll make sure that I get those questions so that we can answer here live for you. And then the other behind the scenes fellow, I don't know if you can actually hear him, but what's that? Okay, so he tells me in my ear that you cannot hear him. So Brett is my son, and he's handling all our the techie stuff kind of behind the scenes, making sure that all this is going out to where it needs to be, leaving me free to harass the murderers row here and just run my yap, which I'm pretty good at. So. Okay, so We're not doing the craft session, the craft segment today, because one of the things that we want to do is we want to talk about what's happening in the comic book industry. So I'm going to take just a second to run down a really quick synopsis of kind of what's happened. And once I finish that, if you guys, if I get anything wrong, jump in and talk to me, and then we'll kind of just see where the conversation goes from there. But I had several windows pulled up so that I can get some of this, but I don't have the date for it. But this would have been mid-March. Printers announced that they're going to stop printing comic books. And when I say printers, I don't mean all printers. Obviously, there are still some that are working and printing books, but I'm talking about the major printers. And I don't know who they are. I'm going to guess it's probably Quebecor or World Color. I don't know which one it was, but basically, it's the printer that handles all of the Marvel and DC books. They announced that they're not going to print any books. And of course, then Marvel has to say, guess what? We're not going to ship any books. Then on March the 23rd, Diamond Comics distributors announced that they're going to stop shipping new books. Obviously, Marvel and DC is the primary supplier of books to comic shops. And so when Diamond announces that, it means that none of the retailers, none of the shops across the U.S. and in many external places are not going to get any new comics. This caused a major ruckus. And on April 1st, a place called, or a thing, a software or group, somebody called Comics Hub, announced that they were going to distribute digital copies to the comic shops. The plan was Marvel and DC were going to release the books digitally via Comics Hub. That would be distributed to all of the comic shops. Fans could come into the comic shops, buy their digital copy. They would get to read it. And then once books began to ship again, whenever that is, whether it's a month or 2 months or 3 months or next week, no one knows, right? But when books began to ship again, they would have their code from having purchased the digital copy, and then they would get their print copy. That was squashed really quickly as retailers went, no. We don't like this. This is a way that you're going to use to kill us and take all of our business away. And it wasn't, I don't have the exact date for that, but it didn't last very long. I want to say 3 days. And a Comics Hub announced that, they're not going to do that because retailers are not going to take that. Let's see. That's still that one. And then on April the 6th, which is 2 days ago, which is Monday, Diamond Comics announced that they won't be able to pay publishers in full until late August. So for those of you who are not aware of it, what happens is publishers tell Diamond, we have a comic book. It's going to be available on this date and this month. Diamond collects all of those from all the various publishers. They collect all the books that are going to be available in that month. They put together a catalog. They send that catalog out to retailers. Retailers say, oh, these are all the books that are going to be available in June. I want that one, right? And they send that book, they send that catalog, their order form back to Diamond. Diamond collates those, gets their book. When the books come in, Diamond gets all those books and they ship them to the comic shops. Okay. The comic retailers pay Diamond, right, for the comics that they purchase. Diamond gathers all that money, and then Diamond then pays the publishers. Diamond has announced 2 days ago that it won't be able to pay the publishers in full until at least August. Y'all, we're in April, right? And they're telling them that they won't be able to pay them until at least August. That was 2 days ago. This is where we're at. Anybody want to jump in here?
I actually saw something recently. I have to go hunt it down that said that Diamond was actually changed and they were going to pay 25% of what they owed publishers.
I've got that memo. I'm working to pull that one up. I have that memo as well. Let me see if I can find it.
They're also saying something about shipping to a retailer's home address as well.
Yes. Yeah.
With Diamond.
But I know there's been a few conversations me and Roland have had, and Diamond. Eventually, Comics was going to have to figure out how to get another 2 or 3 more distributors into the game, because Diamond just couldn't stay the only one, because look what happens.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
Well, their quality of shipping and packing had gone down profusely anyway, and the way they treated a lot of retailers.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is Diamond is a legal monopoly. They've been sued multiple times in the last couple of years. Whenever I tell my students that, they're often just really shocked this has happened. But the part of the problem is, and some people get mad at Jeppy. Part of the problem is the comic book industry probably would have. I'm still looking for that memo. The comic book industry probably would have really collapsed in the 90s had it not been for him, because one of the things that happened, well, good grief, I'm trying to get it in the message, and I keep getting messages and it keeps scrolling up. One of the things, here we go. One of the things that happened was, the late 90s had the comic book crash. That's when so many creators left the industry to go do other things. They went to animation, they went to film, they went to teaching at the university. People just, the industry crashed. When I first got in the late 80s, when I first got into the industry, there were 12, maybe more, but there were 12 distributors. Throughout the course of the 90s, some folded, some sold, some merged, and then essentially it got so bad that Diamond was the last one standing. They didn't put everybody else out of business. They didn't go after them. They didn't target them to kill them. Now, they did end up signing some exclusives, which I think kind of hurt a couple of the other ones. But it was kind of a last man standing monopoly. All the others were just like,
and Marvel bought one of them, and then it fell.
Heroes World, yeah, Marvel bought Heroes World with the intentions to kind of be what self-distribute. And that didn't work. Again, Marvel bought their own distributor, but it failed. That's not Diamond's fault that the Marvel distributor failed, right? So since, and I don't know exactly what year, but since sometime in the late 90s, Diamond has been the only comics distributor in the United States. Like I said, they've been sued a couple of times, but judges kind of said, start your own distributor if you want to. They're not stopping you. So yeah, I realize that Diamond gets a lot of grief. Probably like any corporate entity that has so much power, because really, if you want your book in comic shops, what are you going to do?
Well, I think, it is, we've had this conversation between ourselves, Roland. It's, part of the disconnect with all of the love of comics and the love of comics in movies right now, and the actual sales of books and the actual paper comics in people's hands. It's not, it's not all aligned, and it has to do with consumer choice and probably publisher decisions and lots of other things. And it's we're in a difficult time in the world right now, and I think we're definitely in a difficult time for many businesses, and some problems that were already there in comics are exacerbated now, and a lot of shops are going to close, and some small publishers are going to have to retool or close or whatever.
If I can interject, yeah. One thing I think Roland's always said to me, and about different creators, it's almost like the gold standard for being successful in comic books isn't to make a good comic; it's to have your comic licensed to be a movie or a TV or things like that. And so there's this big disconnect from the actual art form being a justification for itself. I think nowadays we try and say to people, well, if you like the movie, then you like the comic book. Well, the average person, why would they want to read a comic book when they can just sit down and be entertained and all the hard work's done on screen? I think we have to, and I don't know how we're going to do this, but I think we have to get back to the root, which is it's a good comic book because it's a good comic book because it's a good comic book.
Amen.
And right? And can I get a witness?
That's right.
So I think that's kind of the faulty ground that everything's been based on. There's this appearance that comic books are successful to the general public because of the intellectual property, but as far as
movies make billions.
Exactly. But I think that's the challenge, right? Is how do we get back to that core where people actually like the art form for what it is, and when there's that disconnect, we have situations like we have now, where it's on fragile ground.
Yeah, and as an industry, comics is already kind of, especially for indies at least, where indies only really have one product, which is the book itself, are propped up against inflation. Whereas with the movie, you can spend $5 on a matinee and you get an hour and a half, 2 hours of content. Whereas with like your traditional floppy, going price is about $4, and your reading time is going to be about a minute page, so 22 pages, 22 minutes. And it doesn't matter how good it is, trying to convince someone that, no, you really want to spend these 22 minutes over this 2 hours of content. And Sid posted an article about this earlier in our own discussion where kind of bring back the debate of should comics switch their focus more to trades and volumes just because it packages more for the consumer.
That's a good observation. I was just thinking.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
I'll speak to it. I mean, it is easier for the consumer, and that's why I think we see some success with trades, and you get a complete story there versus I found issue 1, it was continued, and now I can't get issue 2 or can't find issue 2, or I've got to order a back issue or whatever. And a trade, you get a nice lengthy reading experience because it's multiple issues together, it's multiple pages, and you're not going to reach that point where it's continued. And I got the first part of a Green Lantern Green Arrow story probably about 1971. Then about 1995, I got around to finding the back issue continuation. But I had a few bucks of my own, It was hard to find comics when I was a kid. We got it at a quick stop off of the rack, it's Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and Speedy is on heroin, and big Neil Adams drug problem, and then never could find the next issue when it came out. Wasn't on the stands at the quick stop and all that. And, the trade addresses a lot of those issues. And I know as a consumer, like trades. So it bears thinking about it, at least.
Yeah.
Is
Well, I
everybody
think
familiar? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, I mean, I kind of like trades, but then I don't like trades. I kind of like the idea of going through and collecting the story, especially like back in the day. You had the old they used to like reference back to things, and that made you want to go out and hunt down those books. And then you also had a lot of books also that was a story within itself,
right?
And that so you could jump in at any time and be in. Like, oh, that right there was actually pretty good. I wonder what the next issue is going to have in it.
Yeah.
You didn't have to sit there and be like, oh no, now I'm lost in this arc, because some of those older, even though they were in arcs, they still were in a story amongst themselves within those 24 pages.
Yeah, there's a lot more self-contained. You just get the big splash on the front saying this issue Wolverine versus the Colossus.
Right.
Like today, it feels like Dragon Ball Z, where you have 5 issues of build-up, and then issue 6, you have one splash that's the fight, and then it's over, set up for the next arc.
Well, like Fatal Attractions was easy to back when Fatal Attractions came out, that whole event where Wolverine lost the metal on his bones.
Oh yeah,
It was
yeah.
still relatively easy to follow. You
Mhm.
didn't have to go through and collect every single issue to know what was going on.
Is everybody familiar with the, like you were mentioning, Dragon Ball? How they distributed in Japan for decades and decades. They have that unique business model where on a weekly occasion they have that huge digest. I mean, it looks like a phone book, right?
Shonen Jump.
And yeah, like Shonen Jump and Young Magazine and within that big phone book, like over 1,000 pages, they have maybe 7 or 10 pages of different stories for each comic book. So you may have like 20 different stories in there. And so it's an interesting business model because it kind of supports itself. I mean, being 10 pages of the other book. And then later on, they put it all together into separate graphic novels, Dragon Ball or One Piece or things like that. And I sometimes wonder how that would do in kind of day and age, with short attention.
We used to do those big anthology kind of books, but they don't seem to, or at least for what I remember, they don't seem to have done or do as well as like they do overseas and stuff, where they do the bigger, thicker books. And now, it's like an American thing to do just a single, 20, 24 page books. So maybe we're doing it wrong. Is that what it's going on?
Antarctic Press is doing the anthology thing right now.
Who is?
Antarctic Press, and they're actually having success with the anthologies.
Is it?
And I know DC's been kind of playing with it a bit more because they started doing bops, where every time they do a new line or they start a new arc, they'll do a bop before they launch into it, which is their best of print, whatever, which is just a take from each of their 52 main franchises.
Is that the one that they put into like the Walmarts and stuff? I know they were putting some cheap reprints into Walmart, which I thought was a great idea.
It's not that, but it's like the Shonen Jump, where it's just, okay, here's the new 52 reboot, here's the new 52 pop. It's 10 pages of either prologue or cuts from like the best moments going into this new.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you talk in talking about the trades versus the floppies. I do think that the younger generation of readers do tend to prefer the trades. If we look at kind of their consumption habits as well, we have I mean, how many times have you heard someone say they binged a show from Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Now, for me, when the first time I heard that, I'm like, well, why would you do that? Because don't you want to watch one episode and then, it kind of ends and then wait a day and watch the next episode, Oh, back in my day, we used to have to wait a whole week before we got the next show, But one of the things I've noticed is that they're willing to read trades. And here's something else I noticed from my students is that they're willing to read independent comics. It seems like the younger generation are not so Marvel, DC. They're like, show me something good. My generation, right? My generation, a lot of people I knew were like, oh, if it's not Marvel or DC, I don't want to try it. Now, as an independent comic book maker and a reader, I always had problems understanding that mentality. But that was very much my generation of readers. That was the mentality they had, that if it didn't have Spider-Man or Batman on it, they weren't interested.
So what about... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just I'm excited about the younger generation of readers, and also, as a way to kind of, fly the Silverline banner, one of the things that you guys probably note, one of the things that is our model is that we're doing these individual issues with the goal towards a trade.
Of course.
So, we are doing the individual issues partly so that we can fundraise and help us to make a little bit of money as we go along. But the end goal is to get a trade that we can deliver to a consumer, hopefully, and that they will, read that.
Well, in your other job, when you're not making comics and you're teaching comics, the younger folks, are they wanting printed books, or are they wanting to go digital with everything? Because that's I want them to go print because my other job is printing, so I don't want that to go away. But what are the kids, your kids, when you talk about that kind of stuff in class? What are they thinking?
I think that so since you're asking me as the teacher,
Yes.
I don't think that
because we're talking about the thickness of the book. I mean, if it's a digital thing,
Well-
it doesn't matter how big it is because it's just digital. So
I got to finish. I started to answer this question here. Be right back. Can't type. And I was trying to answer. Someone said, "Who's the creators here?" So let me address this, and we'll go back and I'll run down a quick intro list again for those who are popping in. So y'all be patient with me, all right? So what I'm seeing a couple things from the students. I'm seeing that they don't like words on the page. One of the things,
what?
I
Okay.
know.
Do they want it read to them? Is that what it is?
It makes me cringe and laugh every time when I hear them say there were too many words on this page. I'm like, yeah, but I haven't assigned a Chris Claremont book to you yet, right? So yeah, I do see that. I don't see them having a preference one way or the other over digital versus print. But what I do see is them not being as interested in the collectible idea that probably many of us here are. We kind of like the idea that, I'm going to get this one because, it's the issue that came right before this one, and it's the first appearance of this character. We kind of like the idea of collectible. My wife won't let me shoot this in my office because behind me is a bunch of comic book boxes, and she says, that's too busy. Nobody wants to see all that.
Oh, I thought you had your banners were covering your box.
No. She's moved me to a different room because those are ugly. People don't want to see those. Right. So, but for me, a lot of it is, hey, I've got issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I gotta get that missing issue, right? It's a collectible kind of thing. I don't think that a lot of them have that kind of same mentality. All right, so let me go through because I see a couple of questions on the stream of asking who people are. Someone says, I know that's Roland Man in the Kablam shirt. Yes, this is I'm Roland. I'm in the Kablam shirt.
He sleeps in that shirt.
I'm going to have to describe the pictures because not all of because I'm noticing in the stream, everybody's names are real tiny. So the penciler, the guy penciling there, he's penciling an issue of Cat and Mouse. That's Alex Gallimore, who is penciling Cat and Mouse. I just said that. The fellow with the gray shirt and the white stringy earbuds there, that's Brent T. Larson. He is the creator and writer of Kalis. The big bearded guy next to him that looks like, come on, help me out. Brian Blessed, right, from Flash Gordon. This is why I said earlier, I said, what? Zachary's alive, right? That's John Martin. He's inking Friar Rush. Right next to him.
Thanks, Roland. Thanks.
Who looks like he's all of 13 is Curtis Fujita, who is the creative director at Silverline. Let's see. Next up is Sid. Sid's the one who looks real respectable here, and he's not holding up his little Twitter address this time.
This is
just the Manus Files,
a copy
right?
of one of my comics. So
Yeah,
the Manus Files, number 3.
Sidney Williams, who has written a whole bunch of stuff, not just for Silverline, but a whole bunch of stuff. See, right next to him in the baseball cap, that is Thomas Flormonti. And someone says that was a previous speaker. I don't know or not, but Tommy's also doing a bunch of inking, but he's got the baseball cap on there. So, and
you
then
might keep switching it back and forth between the live and the iPad.
Eternity. Look at somebody's Eternity Comics, dude. That's right. Some of Tommy's very first work was with Eternity.
Oh no! What the?
Can I mention that?
Sure.
So some of Tommy's I want to say it was your very first inking job, your very first paid inking job. Was this before or after Demon's Tales? Scum of the Earth.
No, that was the very, very first thing. Scum of the Earth.
So so Eternity Comics, one of Tommy's very first paid gig was to ink Scum of the Earth,
which was a movie adaptation of a B movie kind of deal.
Yeah. Is that a gosh, the guy that did, and now it's going to escape me, but the guy that did
Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Yeah, H.G. Lewis. Yeah.
It might have been because I did an adaptation of a different Herschel Gordon Lewis movie around that same time. Malibu was active, or Eternity certainly, where they were very active at seeking out a lot of really B movies for known properties, right? And
it's easy to they already had a cult following. Right. I don't know if mine, the one I did, had a cult. The sales apparently it didn't.
And then of course, last but not least, I'm going to get through the list here. Last but not least, he looks like he's on the far right of the screen for me. That's Tim Thiessen. He is our token COVID virus carrier.
He's well. He's well.
Recovered. He's good now. Yeah. Tim's an editor for Silverline.
I got better.
It got better. Yeah, that's right. So, those of you who are asking these questions, one of the things that what we're talking about is kind of the state of the industry right now. What with Diamond not shipping and comic shops closing down, floppies and trades and all that kind of stuff. So,
just for
yeah,
sure. Scum of the Earth was not an H.G. Lewis property. It was just a cult film.
It was just a bad movie, yeah.
Well, yeah, SF Brownrigg. I should know that, but anyway.
They also had some. Eternity also had some kind of deal with Full Moon, where they did a lot of the Full Moon movies. Toxic Avenger. I think Toxic Avenger. No, Toxic Avenger wasn't Full Moon.
That's Trauma.
Man, they did. What's the
Subspecies was
yeah,
Full Moon.
Well, that's when Malibu was
a whole bunch of those, didn't you?
Malibu was like 5 different little sub printing groups, or you remember at the time they had a bunch of remember they had a rock and roll line. They had that
I did lead a Ford with them.
Oh, did you really?
That's right.
Oh boy.
I did the comic book Lita Ford.
Oh, okay, all right. That's a different show.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back on track here. So we're talking about the floppies and trades, and as we think about where we are now, where do you guys see the industry recovering? And Alex, I'm about to put you on the spot. You've been kind of quiet here, and even though I love to see you penciling those gorgeous panels of Cat and Mouse, want to get kind of a young perspective, right? Comic shops are struggling right now because they're not getting any content. Alex, what do you see happening? What do you see? What happens here?
I think you're going to see like a lot more, like an influx of Kickstarter, Indiegogo projects from creators that were working for like bigger publishers, and they're already kind of starting to ask the question: should they or should they not? And I think you're going to see in the next coming months, if all this COVID-19 stuff doesn't clear out, that you'll have more and more projects, and it'll be an interesting landscape if they'll continue that route or they'll go back to their publishers. I know in terms of floppies and trade paperbacks, I know like major publishers don't want to do an only paperback kind of mindset, just because that way you lose more monthly readers, and that just kind of like becomes a slippery slope. But yeah, I mean, I think comic shops would be fine, in as long as this whole COVID-19 thing clears up. If it lasts more than like 3 or 4 months, I don't know. It'll be quite interesting to see what happens with them.
Yep, my wife was telling me earlier she had heard that the shutdown could go as long as July.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say NPR. They talked to a professor of virology out of a school in Seattle, and they did they have a graph where you can see the forecasted peak of virality in each state, and some states are pushed out into August for like when they reach peak exposure levels.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it's kind of scary. But we're still seeing, though, the thing that I kind of always go back to, Tommy and I were talking about this a little bit today. The thing that I always go back to is that we still have something like a 99% recovery rate.
Yeah.
And of course, you could turn it around the other way and say, yeah, well, that means we have like a 1% doesn't make it. Of course, it's terrible. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I think that in the big scope, in the big scheme of things, we are having a 99% recovery rate. And from where I stand, 99% is pretty good.
Well, weren't they saying like last week they were talking, in the U.S. anyway, over 200,000, and then now they're saying, maybe 80. It's only been a few days, and
they're walking that back, but it's hard to know. And the thing, I don't remember who said it, but there was one virologist or whatever who said we don't know what we don't know about COVID-19, and it continues to throw curveballs. I think hopefully, we'll see a treatment come down the pike that is effective, that kind of cuts down the burden on healthcare, and ultimately a vaccine. But, that with testing and everything, of course, that seems to be many months away. But also eventually, we develop an immunity one way or another. We get it. Probably, very unlikely Tim will get it again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's hope not.
Yeah. Well, I read, another virologist who said, looking at the, components of it, it shouldn't come back to you.
Yeah.
You'll see reports that they think, well, this person caught it. And the scientist said that's probably it bouncing back. One way or another, there is another side of this. And it's a long, brutal haul, but I do think we'll see retail recover, but there will be casualties, just like
right.
There will be shops closed. I used to have a subscription service in the 80s and 90s because the comic shop near me closed then, and you'd get a box of books month. You got a form and you filled it out and you got a box of books.
Was that from Westfield?
Yeah. There was Westfield and American, and I got most of my stuff from Westfield, and I think too. American, I would get stuff from American. But a couple of months ahead, you got the checklist and you got the different circulars from DC and the indies and everything, and you made your choice and you got a box of comics. And I don't know if any of that still exists, but
some of it is limited. But if I see anything like that, it's usually regional. Like there'll be a shop in Portland that will give you your local, so you can get Dark Horse and Oni in Oregon. But
yeah.
Kind of on that same topic, I have a set of notes of things I've seen kind of pop up in the last week, and talking about our retail stores and delivery methods. Something I thought was kind of cool, seeing some pros kind of rally the wagons around our local shops. So the current writer of Batman, I forgot his name, but I believe it was him, started the hashtag New to You Comic Book Day. Since New Comic Book Day this is our first Wednesday of the month without new books in stores.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, so here's my recommendations for this week. Here's something that's new to you. Call your shop, see if they can deliver, or see if you can pick it up outside, because some shops still have the, pass cash under the window.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There are some shops that are still operating, and there are some states. Tommy was telling me he heard there were 7 states. There's some states that are still operating normally.
Mm-hmm.
I think Missouri is one of those that they're still carried on as if nothing's going on. So,
right.
Do they not know anything's going on? Is that what the problem is?
Well, I just think that I don't think that the virus has really affected them. So they're kind of like, well, it's not here. We don't need to shut down at this point in time. I mean, I don't know the reasons.
There are probably a lot of reasons, but no, I talked to Robert Pettit, I texted with Robert Pettit, which is amazing that I texted with Robert Pettit. He was the co-author of the short story, which we adapted into the upcoming comic Bloodline, but old friend of mine. And Robert is, I know I look old compared to a lot of these guys, but Robert's real old now. And there are like 3 cases in a 4-county area where he lives. And so he goes to he gets his meals out anyway, and he continues to go and get his main meal in the afternoon at a restaurant now.
Yeah.
And didn't seem too scared, because again, only a few cases around him. And I guess it's the population is spread out and it's rural enough where he is that,
not a lot of world travelers coming.
Going to rural East Texas where Robert, wherever the hell Robert is.
Yeah. So I
is that a bad word? I'm sorry.
So there and if there is still some of that, and as Tim mentioned, there's still a lot of them doing the curbside delivery, which is something that I know is pretty common in our area here. Some of them are doing deliveries, but I have seen some shops saying that's tough on us. We've got to get your comics and drive them to you. So they're encouraging the curbside delivery. So anybody else have any thoughts on where comic shops might be headed before I move on?
I think we should absolutely encourage people to support their local shops.
Oh, absolutely.
With whatever they're doing. Yeah.
Nick Bradshaw had a good idea, and he's been doing it for 3 weeks now, where he has people on a post to post their receipts from comic book retailers showing, hey, I've supported retailers this week. And he's doing a drawing that he's giving away. I've actually done that same thing. He had the idea. I just I want to do that too. And I've been doing that too for about 3 weeks now. There's been a few people that have popped in, posted the page screenshots or receipts. I got comics this week. I even made a mention, to, hey, even call your comic shop and see what old, storylines that you are out there. What do they recommend? Something for you to get into, to get, try to push people to buy, back issues, because God knows the 90s put out a whole bunch of back issues.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff that happened.
Everybody talks about how the 90s sold more comics than any other, year. Well, they're still all at the store.
That's right.
Most of them are still at the store.
They're still in the
they didn't all make
boxes.
it into the consumer's hands.
Every store has a closet that is just variant covers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
From the 90s. Yeah.
Has anybody heard? Has anybody heard that some stores are considering not taking new issues in? That they're just going to be keeping the vintage comic books or the older comic books and not accepting any new product? Have you heard
I have
that?
not heard that. No.
I've heard some rumblings. Heard some rumblings about that some of them are just saying that, it's too hard to sell the new stuff, and so they're just making themselves more of a collectible store and collecting all issues.
Most of the new stuff, most of the new stuff now selling under the speculation mark, and all the hot stuff gets sold, and everything else kind of sits around.
Well, we are currently in this period of history. Marvel and DC are selling at an all-time historical low. They have never sold as poorly their comics ever in their history as they have been in recent years. Now, that's a whole other episode as to why that might be happening, and we're not going to go there. But the facts are that this is an all-time historical low for Marvel and DC. Before I circle back around to the question I wanted to kind of get to, talking about the stores, because you were talking about people doing good things. Rob Liefeld. I noticed that one of the things Rob has been doing has been he has been auctioning off. He'd been doing drawings and auctioning off the drawing, and then all those proceeds will go to a random store that he has selected.
Jim Lee's doing something too.
Is he?
Yeah, Jim Lee started actually before Rob did.
Oh, someone told me Jim Lee had been quiet for the last 2 weeks. They hadn't heard from him.
No, Jim Lee's been pumping out drawings like crazy, like a day, and it auctions off on eBay, and it goes towards the comic book retailer relief fund.
Good, good. That's good to hear. Yeah, Jim Lee's always been a top shelf kind of guy. So let's circle back around to this. This may be a little contentious, and we may have some differing ideas here, and this is fine. But one of the things that I've seen from some of the crowdfund groups, right, is that why should we care about the comic shops when they don't support our books? The idea is that, look, I can't get into the comic shops because the comic shops won't support the crowdfunded books. So they don't support my work. So why should I support them? Because crowdfunding doesn't really need the comic shop. And one of you mentioned it earlier, maybe even been Alex, is that we're seeing this as an alternative method to getting work to the consumer. So
didn't you have a retailer tier pledge tier for cat and mouse?
I always have a retailer tier for any, and unless something just weird happens, I will always have a retailer tier for Silverline books because they hold a special place in my heart, right? Because they were very good to me when I broke in as a rookie. I am not suggesting that is my opinion. I was saying,
but most Kickstarters don't.
Right. And I would say for me, it is weird to be a comics fan, comics pro, comics whatever, and not
all
have,
of the above,
and not have your favorite, like some of your favorite childhood memories be like walking into a local mom and pop or a local Atomic and just seeing the walls covered in this nerd gloriousness. And for a lot of these people, like, this is something that we talked about at Full Sail at our alma mater all the time. It happens a lot in film too, is you get people who are more or less kind of better about not getting their due, and a lot of it comes down to networking. Like, that's something that Roland covered in his class. That's something that I started doing, and once I started my own professional career, is going into the shops, meeting the owners, and they say, "Hey, I'm a local pro, whatever. Here's my book." They're like, "I mean, I'll hold on to it, and if it sells, I'll give you cash."
Right? Yeah.
And I feel like that's how a lot of people get their start.
Yep.
And it's in Oregon is a little weird because Oregon is kind of indie central. We have Dark Horse, Image, and Oni all kind of in a triangle around each other.
Yeah.
And so if you go into any shop, it's always those three at the front, and then on top of that, you have people who live in the state. On top of that, it's more about people you might walk across the street rather than Marvel and DC. It's they kind of comics are going back to more of a community standpoint. It almost feels like, with now Twitter being the online representation of that, where you see a lot of comics pros just creating these giant circle bubbles.
Yeah.
I know comic shops here in Memphis are very much about the supporting the local books that come through.
Well, the first issue of Cat and Mouse, they didn't support the second one, but the first issue of Cat and Mouse, one of the local 901 comics.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember how many. I'd have to go back and look. But at least 20 copies of the first issue, and they've got their logo on them. So that in and of itself is a, for those people who they want all versions, there is a version of Cat and Mouse 1 that has the 901 Comics logo on it.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get one of every copy, you got to go get one of those. The only place you can get that is 901 Comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, I'm not suggesting this was my opinion. I was saying this is an opinion that I had seen kind of circulated among some of the crowdfunding crowds, and there may have been a little bitterness in there. I don't know. I can't speak with any authority, but in seeing that, it just made me think that one of the things that we make sure that we always do, we're always going to have a retailer tier. Now, we may have a variety of we may have books that we crowdfund that we don't get any retailer support. That doesn't mean I'm going to take it away. I'm going to leave the tier there, and we will continue, hopefully, reaching out to retailers.
Well, I would say hopefully there is there needs to be a rising tide raises all boats mentality, because comic shops create a love of comics, and that that foundation is what makes crowdfunding possible. You have to have enough people out there that love comics that want to crowdfund and get the perks and everything, and you have to you have people that are patronizing crowdfunding that are also patronizing those shops. So even though the shop may not be supporting you, there's cross-pollination there that's good for the whole, I think.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I would agree. And something I would say, I mean,
Well,
okay,
I would think you just want to catch one net. You know, I would think so. I'm sorry, Brent, go ahead.
Okay. Am I coming through okay? You guys are freezing up on me a little bit. Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. Kalos is my first book. And when we started doing the Kickstarter, I was new to that too. But something I just had to keep firm was this is really cool and it's a dream. But let's be real. It's also my first book. For me to start saying, well, I think that my local comic shops should carry my work is kind of like me as a screenwriter saying, well, I just made it my first feature. My local theater should totally carry it. And that's just a bit much to it. It's not necessarily slamming the quality of an independent comic work, but at the same time, there's a reality of the business that just says,
And so that's what I think about that.
Yeah, exactly. That was so very informative. I can't believe you said that.
Don't ever say
Man,
that again.
somebody's gonna be so mad.
That was so profound.
you can't say that about my mom, Roland.
That is the solution for everything. I can't believe we hashed it all out. We
we have solved all the industry woes. Yeah, so
I think Tommy's overselling it there.
So yeah, for those of you who are with us, we apologize. We had a stream snafu that we were just still talking. We didn't realize it had stopped, but yeah, so apologize for that. So I don't know exactly. Did someone else have it before I went to the next thing? Did someone else have anything they wanted to toss in before I mention the next thing that we talk about?
My name is Thomas Floramonte. I'm the inker of. Oh, we're not going back that far?
That's a nice image that you're inking there too.
Oh yeah.
That looks like the 10 of clubs, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know what page that is. Nice.
That's the double page spread from the first part.
Page two.
Page two.
That's
Page two and three. Actually,
page
it's a
two,
double
three.
page spread that you got a big thing that you're going to put some words on the side over here.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
And for some reason, Tommy doesn't ink them in sequential order. I don't, I don't understand that. He sent me, hey, here's page 5. I'm like, what happened to page 1 through 4?
That was from the second part. We had a plan. I'm working the plan.
You know what? As long as they get done, that's all that matters to me. Hey, we saw your chat message pop up again.
No, it didn't. Did it?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, I thought I fixed all that.
That's okay. Yeah, if you keep it up there, we'll all know what kind of messages you're getting.
I know. Hold on.
So,
I'm going to switch back to my normal
Yeah,
me, and then I'm going
right.
to work on that.
That's his girlfriend delivery.
There, look, I'm back as me. Yeah.
There you go. So one of the things that I've been kind of eyeing the last, I don't know, about 2 weeks. I became part of and I don't know how private it is. I just don't know. There's a private Facebook group that's contained with a bunch of retailers with a handful of creators, and and there, I will say this, and I'm not going to mention any retailer names at all. But there's a lot of anger in there. There's a lot of anger with these retailers directed towards Diamond and Marvel and DC.
They are mad.
They're mad.
They are very mad.
They're just angry. So what I'm seeing though, and I will say, as an independent comic book maker, this kind of excites me. obviously I have all kinds of concerns, but it kind of excites me. One of the things that they're saying in there is there are a bunch of them, not all of them now. There's some of them that are saying that, oh, I can't survive. My store can't survive without Marvel and DC. I don't care how good your independent comic book is. My store can't. There are some of those, right? There are some that are like, you know what? I want your independent comic. I want to stop buying Marvel and DC's. Send me your stuff. And so I will tell you guys, for the last couple of days, I've been sending PDFs out right and left to a bunch of retailers. Now, I don't know what's going to come of this. I've already had one say, yes, I want to, by the way, Brent, we got to talk. We got to get some signed copies from you somehow. I've already had one say, yes, I want copies of Kalis and I want copies of Cat and Mouse. How do I get them? And so for me, this is like, I mean, this is great. I can get these books directly into a retailer's hands, and they can get these books to fans that may not otherwise be aware of us. So I guess I want to toss this out at y'all for kind of some feedback. So what I'm kind of seeing from this is, because I see a lot of this anger, I see it as a possible opportunity for the independent market right now to step up and say, okay, you can't get your Marvel and DC books, but guess what? You can get some Silverline books, because I don't use that great big printer that shut down for them. I use print on demand, who's still printing, right? They're still printing and shipping books. So you need 20 books. I can say, hey, my printer, I need 20 books. Can you print them and ship them? I don't even have to go there. I can just tell them what it. Now, if you would need me to sign them, or if you want somebody to sign them, then that's a little different. We've got to figure that out. But if you just want product, if you don't want books, then we can do that. There's a lot of creators who have boxes of stuff that they can send as well. So it seems to me like we're kind of on a cusp of something for independent comics. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal opportunity, and I think right now I see it even within my my own separate industry in the whole martial arts thing. But I think in a lot of things, a lot of people are using this moment to either almost like a cash grab, or trying to take advantage, or play the situation a certain way. And really, I think it's an opportunity for everybody to build relationships, business relationships with each other. And I think everybody's going to remember when we come out the other side of this, how they were treated, what relationships they had, who did them wrong. And I think a lot of those store owners, those retailers, have a good reason to be upset. And the bigger companies have some concerns, I think everybody's going to remember how this is dealt with right now.
I'm not sure about how it's doing with the vendors, but Valiant right now is they're just at the point where I feel like they're not as big as, say, the big four, but they have enough surplus that they should be able to weather this fairly okay. But they're at the point where they're just harboring so much goodwill because they released Bloodshot, and their whole thing right now is, we know you guys need to see it, and even though it wasn't that good, but let's be honest, it's Vin Diesel shooting stuff. It doesn't need to be good. But their whole thing is, we know you guys are missing out on a lot of property right now, so what we're going to do is every day we're going to give you 2 free comics just in our open Dropbox. And they're using that, of course, to push their sales on their own digital platform, and that seems to be working well for them. And I've seen a lot of engagement with their Twitter that I haven't seen like in weeks beforehand. So just kind of taking that more indie approach of being direct to consumer, where Valiant is saying like, hey, it's comics is just you to us to you, so here's what we can do to make your life easier since things got really weird.
Well, Scout's going directly, they're shipping directly out to people too. They're doing where you order from them and they'll ship it directly to you, in light of Diamond not shipping anymore, from what I've understood.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. We could be doing as well. And go ahead. I've got to toss some stuff out, but go ahead.
Yeah, I find it funny that there's retailers out there that are like, I just can't I can't sell independent comics. It's like, well, you're selling Image, right? That's how that started.
Yeah.
Some of the
and
biggest
IDW
titles out there,
and Boom and Dark Horse, those are all independent
some of the biggest
comics.
titles that have come out within the recent last 20 years have been from Image, Saga, Walking Dead, Spawn's still going, and has eclipsed 300. They're still like, and I know comic retailers made loads of money off of a lot of that. So to crap on independent publishers is basically like saying, well, so what? You know, Image didn't really do anything for us either, which is a lie. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I was talking about. You know, you mentioned Scout, you know, our buddies. That's one of the things I was talking about that we have the ability to do because we have a good, you know, we know that our printer is still working. We have a good relationship with the printer. If somebody needs comics, we can get them to them in a very reasonable amount of time. Right? It's not someone says, hey, I want, 10 copies of this, 10 copies of that, 4 copies of that. We could do that without telling them, okay, well, you 6 weeks from now you'll get your books. No, I mean, I'd have to confirm with the printer, but I would say probably, I'm guessing 2 weeks-ish at tops. What do you think, Tommy? Would that be a good guess?
Well, I don't know who your printer is you're talking about, but they kablam! You're talking about the. Oh, you need a new shirt. What's wrong with that shirt? Look how crackly that shirt is. We're gonna get you. I mean,
he sleeps in it. He drinks in it. He eats in it. He bathes in it.
I'm gonna send one of the partners a message tonight. See if we can't get them to sponsor us. So
we've talked about this.
Yes, I know. You told me exactly who I need to contact. I'm going to do that tonight.
If it's a new product, of course we got to go through all the stuff of that company that you keep speaking of has to go through of prepping the book, making sure it can prep. But if it's just a reorder, that stuff can go out in days.
Yeah. Oh, days. Okay, cool. Yeah. So if it's a book that, for instance, Cat and Mouse 1, if I just say, hey, I need 15 copies of Cat and Mouse 1, that's literally a days kind of thing, right?
Didn't somebody put an order for like 50 of them and pick them up 2 days later? 3 days
he did, but I didn't know if I was allowed to say that kind of thing.
No, that company is the one. Can I say shitty? The shitty thing about there's a lot of bad things about the Corona thing, but we're
Hey, hold on, wait.
You feel bad? Okay.
Roland told me to behave.
Yeah, he did tell you to behave. We're catching up completely on pretty much everything. So, and we've been trying for the past year or two to make the turnaround time even shorter and shorter and shorter. Yeah. Now it really stinks that we have the opportunity now to actually do all these things that we were wanting to do because of the fact that the orders are coming in just for everybody, not just for us. The orders are coming in slow, even though we can go to work. We're going every other day kind of thing. And
just the question within the office.
To the office, right? Yeah. Just one of us. So there's only one person there all the time now, even though the rest of us are, remote accessing in and proofing files, sending orders. We're working on the website, all that kind of good stuff. I mean, they're working on the website, those guys. But they're gonna turn that, what we used to say, the 28-day turnaround, we're gonna make it a week or two.
Wow,
and then if we can, we have the capability of doing that. So this is going to give us the opportunity to, unfortunately, it's really, you and I talked about it earlier today. I mean, when you and the people from that group, they talked. I heard y'all talking about it, and and we hate, me and my business, or the business partner. Okay, I half own Kablam. Okay, everybody, there you go.
No
so being an anchor,
I don't think anybody had picked up on that.
I don't think so. But we
really, Tommy?
What? Yeah.
This is the first time hearing of this.
I'm sorry. And I didn't wear my Kablam shirt. Let me go get my Kablam shirt. I'll be right there.
I wore it for you.
There you go. But there's all kind of you got your. There's all kind of things that we've been trying to do, but because we're so busy and, there's only a few of us that work there, just to keep the prices low, we try, we feel bad that everybody's got sick, but this is going to make it so if,
Well,
we're going to
it's a
be
good
able to
opportunity
fix a
for
lot of
you.
problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But I don't like to say it that way because it makes me tear up a little bit because I don't want this to be the reason why we're catching.
I don't think anybody blames you for COVID.
No.
But I think but I think this is an example of what we have to do in this. We've got to figure out how to take a really bad thing and try to come up with some good stuff. And this is
the COVID is the circumstance that's out there, and this is working inside that reality.
Yes. Yeah. It's true. That's so true. Yeah. It makes you feel bad, but you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. I don't know.
Well, and I think that as all of us here, we're gathered here because we like comics and we work on comics, we make comics. This is what we enjoy doing. As terrible as COVID is, and it is, we have to. We're creators. We have to remain optimistic. We have to remain positive about the things that we are doing. And if there is an opportunity for us to find some good in this bad, that I think the onus is on us to do that. We must.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's
independent comics can be elevated from here to here.
Yeah.
Because of bad things that have happened to Marvel and DC. Well, I don't want any terrible things to happen to people there.
No,
but,
or people in general. Yeah.
I guarantee you, nobody on this stream loves the comic that they are writing or drawing less than anybody who works at Marvel and DC. We just don't have the popularity and the fame that they do, but we do not love our comics less. And in fact, I would put our product against anything that Marvel and DC does. Right now, they've got some rock stars, they've got some superstars. Alex is over there. Yeah, I'm glad my mic's muted. I'd name a couple of artists over there, right? We've got some rock stars, of course. But
well, I mean, I've worked for Marvel before. I've done Spider-Man. I've worked on all that kind of stuff. But I just want to make comics, and
Well, and I think that's the point about independent comics is that yes, you can find some crap, but there's a lot of stuff out there being published that's really good. And yes, I'm biased, but I think Silverline can stand up against just about anything that's published out there. Yes, I absolutely love Walter Simonson. Alex, plug your ears for a minute. I love Walter Simonson's work. I can look at his pencils all day long, and I will buy just about anything that has his name on it, except for one writer that was associated with him at one point in time. I wouldn't buy that. But I love Walter Simonson's work, right? So they've got some superstars, yes. But now Walter Simonson's been doing for the last couple of years work with I think it's IDW, the Ragnarok. Who's that with? Anybody know? I've been buying it, but I can't remember what publisher it's with.
Right.
Alex, look at Alex's thumbs up.
He won't unmute his stream, so he's just gonna draw a picture for you.
Yeah, IDW.
IDW, yeah. And I've been buying that because it's Walter Simonson. But again, I look at this as an opportunity, and I will tell you guys, Tommy kind of talked about it. Yeah, I picked up 50 books from him because one of the things I'm doing from this side is these retailers are asking for comics. I put a chunk of money down and I printed up a bunch of books, and I said, if you want comics, I'm going to send them to you. And I know that I'm not the only one. I know that there are other small press publishers out there doing that. But if there's a retailer right now that's hurting and needs product and will honestly look at Silverline product, I'm going to put it in their hands.
Yeah.
It may cost me money to do, but it seems to me like this is a worthwhile investment for Silverline because this is kind of a goodwill money if you
it
can,
is. Yeah.
We can support them by saying, look, here's some books. If you sell them, pay for my shipping. or order some more. If you sell them, order some more copies and let us put some more Silverline books on your shelf. And I remain optimistic. Tim's even hinted that he's working on a book that's yet to be announced. And one of the things we set off stream that I'll say now, just to give a little hint, we lined up an artist for a project for Sid just yesterday, right? And there's still got a lot to do on.
Yes today, so yeah.
Yeah, he said yes today. Okay, yeah, yes. I was thinking yes. Yeah, he said yes today. So
the days are blending together.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So this is another Sid project that it's still months away, but we're putting it into production now. Something else that we're going to have available. And I just got to say, as the person who kind of sees all this coming together back here, it really excites me to see all the stuff that we're doing. So yeah.
One thing I was thinking too is, what's so special is, opportunities aside, it's an opportunity for everybody to tell their story. And, as artists, we're helping people. You give somebody a good story and you inspire them and take them out of their everyday element right now, which isn't the best for everybody. It's a tremendous opportunity to do a lot of goodwill by what everybody's devoted their lives to doing, which is art. That's why everybody's here. And I think that's, as long as everybody kind of has that moral compass to it, I think it's a phenomenal opportunity.
Yeah, and I hope that you are finding time to work on your project.
I'm on it.
Good, you better be, because I'll have to drive out to California and whoop you if you're not.
Okay.
Oh boy.
And I don't care what kind of kung fu you have.
Good money to see that.
I better care about the kung fu.
Just don't touch the
I'll
face.
stick Tim on you.
See,
The
yeah,
face is where all the money's made, not the face.
I'm just up in Oregon, and I have some training Muay Thai, so I'll make that a stretch goal. That if we get enough money on the next project, Curtis and I will spar.
There you go. Again, not the face.
Yeah.
So Brett wanted to know if we could actually stream it.
I think that should be part of a Kickstarter package.
I'm saying make it a stretch goal, yeah.
Tickets to the live stream.
Yeah.
Well, all I gotta say is if that's the case, my fighting name is the Raging Eurasian. So just remember.
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of stuff going on in the industry. Diamond is doing some questionable things. Why they don't pay people, I don't really know. Why they're not paying folks, I don't really get it. I know that it's interesting times. A lot of shops are in trouble right now, and so I think we are on. We're on the cusp of change now. What that's going to look like on the other side of COVID, I don't know. But one of the things that a couple of us here are old enough to remember, and even those that are not old enough to remember know the stories, is that the industry went through another major change in the late 70s and early 80s when we went from newsstand only distribution to the direct market. Prior to the late 70s, the only way you could get comic books were through the newsstands, through the spinner racks at 7-Elevens and convenience stores and literal newsstands, right? And then the comic specialty shop came around in the late 70s and kind of spent the 80s taking over. And when me and Curtis were working at Malibu had, this was in early 90s still, Malibu had both direct market copies and newsstand copies. And while we were there, we stopped the newsstand distribution completely. So, and this was early 90s. So I don't, I'm not saying that we're on, that we're about to see that kind of change in the industry. But if it happens, and in 2 years we're looking back to this point, I will say this now, it would not surprise me if we are at that point where we see another kind of historical change.
Well, the world is going to be different anyway after COVID. So I think we're absolutely, at a point of change. And, it's kind of, we will see what happens, but the future is different.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I think that's kind of an excellent remark to kind of close on.
Well,
listening, you guys got any additional thoughts?
I do. Before we end it, I did kind of have some notes here that I wanted to say for kind of a
please do
a mouthwash section, a feel good moment before we end it.
Okay.
So, in particular, this goes for any creatives out there who are full-time artists or whatever and have lost income from conventions or now pencils down orders, and since you're looking at perhaps an entire season without any income. Creative Capital has a $5,000 grant for any individual artist who is without income for the foreseeable future. Mad Cave Studios, who I believe he's the editor-in-chief, was also a Roland grad from my class. They just put out a fundraiser. It's kind of a shop outreach where they put in $10,000 of their own cash to donate to local shops.
Wow.
Who
is that?
Chris Sanchez.
Oh, really?
Yep. He works
Oh,
on
cool.
Yeah. So they put together that fundraiser, and the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund has compiled a list of any potential grants or aid that artists or writers or anyone in the industry can apply for to kind of help make ends meet during the next couple of months.
Sweet. Tim, will you do me a favor and send those to me in a message? And then when we're done, I'll add them to the info on the streams on YouTube. So for those of you who are listening to that, I'll put that down below there.
Show notes.
Show notes, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Anybody else? Final notes? Final thoughts?
I'm just happy to be on the stream with everybody. This is awesome.
Yeah, we're glad
so
you
much
joined
fun
us.
to be here.
We get a thumbs up from Alex. Hey, Alex, no pencils down for you. I saw that pencil hit the page. Nope.
So most of the questions that did come up have all been answered.
Okay,
but
good.
One, and the question is to Alex and Tommy.
Uh-oh.
What are the X's on your artwork on your pages?
They're X-rated comic books. Every time we go XXX, there's things that no. That means you fill in those areas in black. So you can kind of, when you're drawing and you're inking and all that kind of stuff, you're kind of, what's the word?
Shortcut.
There you go. Then you come back later and fill in the blanks. So you can go and you can outline everything and do all your feathering and all of the fine little work, and then instead of wasting all the time Xing it in, you could, or not Xing it in, blacking it in. You could just put a big X there and then hand it to your wife or whatever. Say, fill this in. But in my case, because it's I'm doing it on the iPad, I can just use the bucket thing and just as long as I
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
still doing
I'm
it the traditional way.
Yeah. And then Alex, of course, he's penciling, he can just put X's where he wants just the solid blacks to be, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you were going to say, Alex? Because your microphone's still turned off.
Oh, here we go. Our thumbs up again.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. It's a. Look at him filling it in now.
There you go. Big X.
Yeah, it's a great way for a penciler. It's what's the shorthand? It's shorthand. Yeah, a penciler can do this, and rather than spending all the time, as you saw Alex do, filling in all the blacks, you can just put an X.
John, is that what you do also when you kind of outline all the stuff and then come back later and fill in the blacks, or you?
Yeah, I spot all the blacks, do all the feathering and stuff, and then come back.
Yeah, I've seen people do all kind of different things. Yeah.
Who asked that question, BJ?
There's another really good
Red Rider.
Who?
Thank you, Red Rider.
Red. He doesn't know. Another one is the Barry Windsor Smith thing, when you put the black with stars or whatever. Yeah.
Why is Barry Windsor Smith's initials all over these pages?
Yeah, I know. That's what I used to, way back in the day, I would see that. And I'm like, what? What is this? What is, am I supposed to write that
It's
in
too
there?
small, Alex. Do it again. Put it back up there, Alex. I didn't see it. Oh, yeah, BWS. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Black with stars is what you.
Black
that's
with
when,
stars.
Yeah, that's when the penciler didn't want to draw all the little dots where he thought stars would be and let the inker just have fun at it.
Look at that, Alex. He's adding the moon.
Oh, he's adding the moon in there.
It needs to be a pink moon, huh?
A pink moon. Yeah. Was it pink? It didn't even look pink for us. It looked.
It's not. Yeah, it doesn't really. It doesn't really show up pink. It's just,
yeah. I didn't. We peeked at it and it's like it looks white to me. So
I know. So I did. I saw some people that posted. This is another story. We're talking about something else. Okay. Anyway, go ahead, Roland.
Was any other questions there, BJ?
That was it, because all of them were answered while y'all were talking.
Excellent. That sounds good. Well, I'm glad to know that we anticipate the questions that we're going to get, and we can answer those beforehand. All right, so we're going to run through Murderer's Row. Everybody, tell our listeners where they can find you on the social medias. I will also include that in the about section, the more info. But before I go, don't forget, everyone, I'll probably say this again at the end. Don't forget to click like, click subscribe. I noticed on YouTube we're up to 25 subscribers. We're trying to hit that 100 mark so that I forget what we can do. Oh, I can name the channel.
They can name the channel.
Yeah, I can name the channel instead of XGW $90XDO, which I think is what it is now.
Oh, that's what I've been telling people it was. That's not the name? I thought that's what you named it.
If we can get to 100
I memorized that.
and we can actually name the channel. So,
now I got to come up with something else.
Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and now we'll go through the row. Alex, tell people where they can find you on the social medias.
You can find me on Instagram at my name and then 2, so Alex Gallimore 2. You can find me on Twitter, same thing, but Alex Gallimore 25, and then Facebook's just my name. So
sweet. And can you unzoom a little bit and let us see the entire page that you've been working on there?
Well, I have the middle part
covered up.
Covered up because it's
story stuff.
Secret.
Oh, good.
Don't want to spoil the story.
There's thank you.
This other page.
Oh, there you go.
Dun,
Nice.
dun, dun.
Look at you. You're thinking ahead, covering up the spoiler stuff.
Yep.
Oh, not me. I'm showing everything.
Time to give you a raise, right? All right. So thank you, Alex. I'll drop all that in below. Britt, what about you? Where can people find you on your one social media?
You cannot find me. I will never be found. You'll never catch me until I actually get around to doing more stuff. Meanwhile, Brent Larson on Facebook.
All right. And John, what about you?
He's in the phone book.
Yeah.
What about me? What?
Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Generally hiding until I do a sketch. There's my personal page, which lately, because of the giveaways I've been doing once a week, is my name. I do have a art page also on Facebook, Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I believe that's my name also.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember all these things. I got so much going on. Yeah, and I got a Patreon too, so you can find me there also.
All right. And like I said, for Alex and Brent, I'll make sure I put it down there. So make sure you send that to me. Curtis, what about you? Where can people find you on the interwebs?
On the interwebs, you can find me on Facebook, just Curtis, KURTIS, FUJITA. And then you can also find me on other social media. It's usually my martial arts stuff. It's Tiger Crane, one word, 805, and that's on Instagram and YouTube. And that's pretty much it.
Excellent. Sid, what about you? Where can people find you?
My website, I need to make a sign for that too, is Sid, SidIsAlive.com. Sid is alive, all the words crushed together. And also on Twitter, I do have the sign for that.
Oh, there it is.
Sydney_Williams on Twitter. And of course, there are links to my other presences there. On Facebook, you can find me just as an individual, and you can find Sydney Williams Books. So facebook.com/Sydney Williams Books. And that'll include information about my novels, short stories, comics, and everything.
Okay,
and I would
cool.
love to have you drop by because I'm trying to build a fan base.
And Sid's also, don't you have you been doing kind of like a regular monthly reading of some short stories, right?
Yeah. That's on my YouTube channel, and just search Sydney Williams on YouTube. And I'm doing flash fiction. It's roughly every 6 weeks or so. I'm going to build up about 10 of those. And,
Next time you do that, give me a heads up, and Silverline will promote that for you. We'll shout it out.
I'll probably do one soon.
Okay. I think I don't know how many you've done, but I've listened to a couple of them from you.
Just very short, little horror stories.
Yeah. And the way you were reading, I felt like you were sitting right beside me and at Applebee's again.
Cool.
Tommy, what about you? Where can people find you on the social medias?
Thomas Florimonte. Let's spell it because nobody ever gets it right. It's FLORIMONTE, and I'm pretty much on everything. Just look up Florimonte, and my personal web space out there is InfernoStudios.com. Links to everything is there, but Florimonte, the only one. Poor me, I'm all by myself.
I'll put the links below. Tim, what about you?
I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TimTKWriter. If you just Google TimTK, you'll get Tim Takahashi, the ESPN sportscaster who is decidedly Asian and not me. I am also on TikTok at Tim Doesn't TikTok, and I am on Twitch as well, and I'll be streaming I think Call of Duty Warzone tonight at around 10 p.m.
All right, cool. So Tim, make sure you get me that link as well. I'll drop it in the info below.
Oh, and Brett asked me for my Twitch, and that is at AgroBacon. One word, agro as in aggressive, and bacon.
Very good. And before we get to me, I want to shout out to John Medic, who for years I called John Mitch. John Medic, who was not able to join us because we learned today, and I feel so bad, John. If you were here, I would give you a big bro hug, man. We learned that apparently Google Hangouts has a limit of 10, and so John was desperately trying to join, and Google Hangouts kept saying no, rejected, and we couldn't figure it out. And he did some internet sleuthing to find out that we had reached our max number of participants. So shout out to John, who is the writer creator of Sniper and Rook, and he's got some other cool, awesome things coming along. In fact, one of those things, I'll just give you a way far advanced hint here. One of those things will be drawn by Alex. So we're pretty excited to that. And this one project has about a 30-year history to it. So we're pretty excited about that. I am Roland Man. You can find me at on Twitter and Facebook, and what's the other one? Instagram. Look for Roland Man. Often you can look for my caricature, which looks a little bit like that right there.
There it is.
Yep, you can find, if you find that, you have found me. I think my most recent version has a set of glasses, thanks to our pal Jeff Whiting. I think I'm going to send it back to Jeff and ask him if he'll add me a COVID mask to my caricature.
Am I the only one who thinks there's tribal? You got tribal like designs in your goatee in that little caricature? Is it just me?
No. So the story behind that is when he did it, he looked at it and he goes, "Yeah, I think there's something wrong with the caricature." And I looked at it, I'm like, "What?" I think it looks great because my eyes are kind of squinty. And I didn't realize it until the caricature, but I kind of have squinty eyes, And he goes, "No, look at yourself in the mirror." And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Your goatee's all gray. That's all brown. That's not an accurate caricature."
Oh.
So he added some gray in the caricature. And now, he has added the glasses, but I haven't updated it here on Google. So he does not need to upgrade the gray to make it more gray.
Put some white in there.
Yeah. All right. Enough about my caricature. All right. Thank you to BJ and Brett for working hard behind the scenes. We appreciate all that you do. And just the end of the stream, unless someone has a question for us, we will see you next week. Same Silverline time, same Silverline channel.
Goodbye. Stay
Make
safe.
mine Silverline.
Make mine Silverline.
Make mine Silverline.
Silverline.